Hello YouTube, and welcome back to Brewing with Magic. Well, we've got more spoilers for you. Today, they have announced the Prismari College spoilers, so we're going to get some really neat cards from there. But we do have some stragglers from yesterday from the Lorehold College and a couple of the colorless cards I want to go over with you. But first, hello Will, how are you doing?
Hey everybody, doing great.
Good to hear it. Good to hear it. So before we get into the cards, I would like to remind everybody we're creeping up on that 100 subscriber mark. Thank you very much. We appreciate everyone who's clicked. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Share with your friends, give the video a like, and leave a comment down below. So without further ado, let's get into it. First, I want to clean up some of the Lorehold or Boros cards from yesterday and or early this morning that have come out. And so first we have a Moto card. So first we have Flame Scroll Celebrant, 1 red, 1 colorless, creature human shaman. It's a 2/1. Whenever an opponent activates an ability that isn't a mana ability, Flame Scroll Celebrant deals 1 damage to that player. And then you can pay 1 red, 1 colorless, Flame Scroll Celebrant, gets +2/+0 until end of turn. And then the other side, and this is a card I am really excited about, is Revel in Silence, 2 white mana, instant. Your opponent can't cast spells or activate Planeswalker loyalty abilities this turn. Exile Revel in Silence. So I'm super excited about that second side. Yep. Will, talk to me.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very high value card. We're going to see a lot of control decks playing. This is also, I think, going to be a second staple that we might see EDH or even EDH decks, since Silence is one of the most played card in most of those decks, to kind of keep themselves into able to cut off your opponent and then win on the play. But for standard's sake, I think this card is going to be great because it either shuts off your opponent so you can do your win on your turn, or it'll shut off your opponent on their turn, so then giving you back to your turn, so hopefully you still win. So I just think this card is going to be very, very well received and utilized in a lot of decks throughout.
Well, I definitely don't think there's anything to celebrate on the Flame Scroll side, but I definitely don't think I can keep silent on the Revel side. So I think this is definitely going to make blue-white good. I think you were saying that you like it in Bant control. I also could see it in like a really fast Boros or mono-white deck as a tempo card. Cast it during their upkeep and basically time walk. I mean, they can attack and that's about it if they have creatures. So really exciting card. I think that this is all. I think the red side's not going to see play really, but as far as Revel in Silence, I think that is a really strong card.
I agree.
I hope I'm not wrong. So next, before we get into the other colors, I definitely want to talk about a common that Will pointed out to me. It is Make Your Mark. It's either 1 red, 1 white. Either way, converted mana cost of 1. It is an instant. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. When that creature dies this turn, create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. So why do you like this so much, Will?
I like this card because I think it's going to be a really good combat trick, especially if you're doing like white weenies, or if you're just doing mono red, or if you're doing Boros. I think it's going to be one of those great cards where all of a sudden you're like, here you go, I'm going to trade this like dorky creature, or maybe even a good creature, who knows, in response, and then still get a 3/2 to protect yourself or have an attacker for the very next turn. So the cool part about this is it's what it says. It says when this creature dies this turn. So even if you want to use it as a combat trick to attack somebody and then they shock the creature, maybe not initially, but maybe in response they're going to shock it, and then you make the mark on top of it. So then, yeah, you're still going to lose it, and they're going to, 2-for-1 your card. But if it's in response, and maybe your 3/2 comes out next, and then you have something to do, or maybe you're defending and you do it in response, so then you have a 3/2 on your upkeep. I just think there's going to be multiple ways to kind of abuse this card moving forward.
Well, let's see. In the future, we will find out. So before I get into the Prismari College, let's go over the colorless cards that have come out since yesterday. So first we have a modal card. The front side is Wandering Archaic. The back side, Explore the Vastlands. So Wandering Archaic is a 5 mana cost 4/4 creature avatar. When an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. That's pretty interesting. And then the backside, Explore the Vastlands, a 3 colorless for a sorcery. Each player looks at the top 5 cards of their library, reveals a land card and or an instant or sorcery card from among them, then puts the cards they revealed this way into their hand and the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. Each player gains 3 life. So, You tell me what you think. I see one side that looks kind of interesting and one side that I don't like at all. So
Yeah, honestly, I have the same feeling you do on this one. I was wowed by the front side with the Wandering Archaic. I was like, okay, that's a 5-drop. You know, what am I going to do with it? And the cool part about this card is, yes, it's expensive as a 5, but it is a 4/4. So you're not really getting that 5/5, 4/5 value, but it's the second ability, the thing that it actually has, that if they do not pay, you get to copy and choose a new target for the spell, which is amazing. So imagine this card coming out maybe turn 5, turn 6, maybe turn 6, we'll say, and then it's their turn 7, and they play their ultimatum. Cool. You just played an ultimatum. So that's the cool part about this. So you're giving yourself that value, which is going to maybe even put you ahead of them, because now they have to deal with this. And here's the other thing. Say they already have a creature on the battlefield, and then they deal with this, but they can't pay the 2, and they're like, fine, I'm going to have to kill it. Cool, you kill their thing. So that is what's really going to be cool about this card. It technically, yes, you're going to lose it, but you're also taking maybe one of their best creatures as well. The second side, Explore the Fastlands. It's funny because it reminds me of like a group hug card. I have nothing else to do. I need to maybe get into something better. So let's both look. Maybe I can figure out how I'm going to win from here. You know, each of us gain 3 life, maybe to stay in the game a little longer. I personally am not a fan of it, but who knows? I mean, there might be that moment in the game where you have to use it and get yourself out of a problem. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of Explore as far as Wandering Archaic. I definitely think in best of 3 formats that's going to see some sideboard action, especially in control match mirrors. We will see. So, and then one more colorless card from yesterday until we get into the Prismari or Izzet College is Cody, Vociferous Codex. 3 colorless for this cute legendary artifact creature. It is a construct, 1/4. You can't cast permanent spells. Very abrupt. Okay. Pay 4, tap, add 1 of each color mana. When you cast your next spell this turn, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile an instant or sorcery card with lesser mana value. Until the end of your turn, you may cast the card without paying its mana cost. Put each other card exiled this way on the bottom of your library in a random order. I don't know if I love it or hate it.
Yeah, this card is going to be very interesting to play around. I'm excited to see what we can do with it. I think it's going to be a great spell slinger deck, or if you're building a deck that cheats in things. So that's how I kind of see getting the true value out of it. The cool part about this card, though, is say you play it on turn 3. Turn 4, you're able to play a land, tap it, Wooburg out, drop all the colors. And then maybe use it to ramp, like Cultivate, or some of the new cards that we're seeing where you're able to put other things onto the battlefield quickly, like lands. But then you ramp into another spell. That might be maybe draw more cards or something along those lines. So you can see value pretty quickly if you have the right hand, or if you have the right spell slinger cards for it. The only issue that I see is that if you are building it with other permanents in the deck where you're trying to maybe cheat creatures in, is that you're can't really play it immediately. So you're going to have to hold it off until you kind of get your other dynamic going. So then you can play it and then cheat in and do whatever you need to do with your permanents, but at the same time getting spell value. So I think it's going to be a very interesting card and how people build around it. I'm excited to see how we're going to do it and what our overall theory is going to be.
By we, you mean you, because I can't wait to see what you guys. I don't know if I know how to build a deck around that. There's too much brain power going on there for me. I'll build the rush decks. You build those decks. I'll play them all. So I can't wait to see. So now let's get into our Prismari featured cards for the day. Prismari College is also known as Izzet, but I don't think we're supposed to use those words right now. First up, we will go with the Elder Dragon. So we have Galzareth Prismari is 1 red, 1 blue, and 2 colorless legendary creature. Elder Dragon has flying because it can't be a dragon without flying. When Galzareth Prismari enters the battlefield, create a treasure token, and then artifacts you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color, use this mana only to cast sorcery and instant spells. And this is a 3/4 dragon.
So me and you, we were talking about this, and I'm really excited about this dragon. Not just for standard, but historic, for commander. I think this dragon is going to be one of those cards that you can definitely manipulate. I mean, imagine dropping 0-drop artifacts. and turning them immediately into treasures, or turning them into, tapping for any color, ramping up to whatever you need. I think that's amazing. I think in standard itself, depending on what artifacts start coming out next, or certain builds that you're putting them into, maybe creating treasure tokens also, but instead of destroying the treasure tokens, you're just tapping them for mana. So there's a lot of different value that you're probably going to see. I think it's going to be very interesting how we can manipulate this card more. I think it also is going to depend on what other cards in this set come out that we can kind of use that will really help ramp this card up and do more.
Okay, yeah, I think that this is definitely going to open up a new category of standard decks. Basically, I think people are going to start looking into, artifacts and colorless spells that do things, colorless permanents that do things on the board other than how you would normally use it. Kind of things like Shadow Spear. How you don't really have to have a creature to attach Shadow Spear to in certain decks, say a mono black deck, if you're trying to be able to get rid of Toskies, or any deck where you need to be able to handle an 8/8 Kraken that, I don't know, somehow has hexproof. Things like that. So I think we're going to see more cards in this deck that we have never seen before getting taken advantage of just for the mana rock side of it. And maybe we'll see some really big things coming from this card. I can't wait to see what the really amazing brained deck builders out there come up with, because it's not going to be me, but I see the potential. I definitely do. So, okay, let's go into Magma Opus. Magma Opus is an instant that costs 1 red, 1 blue, and 6 colorless. Magma Opus deals 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of targets. Tap 2 target permanents, create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token, and draw 2 cards. That's a lot of stuff, but it also costs a lot. You can also pay 2 blue, 2 red, or any combination thereof, discard Magma Opus, create a treasure token. Do we want to pay 8 mana to do that first side?
So yeah, this is one of those, it's definitely going to be a limited win card specifically. It might be an EDH. Just as a fun one of, just to see how it works. I think in standard in general, this card is going to be, if you're going to play this card, it has to be the win card. Like, you're playing this to win. I mean, even if you cycle it out and discard it to basically create a treasure token, I mean, you're paying 2 for 1, and that just seems already sad in itself. The other part of it, they're great. All of those mechanics are amazing. But for 8, I just feel like by the time you pull this off, you should have already won, or you should have already gotten to a position where you can win. Now, if you're playing a deck where you're doing a lot of control and your only way to win is to outvalue your opponent by, some alternate way of pulling off a win, then this card is probably for you. But I think for any other deck, this is just going to be too much.
And I don't know what shell this goes in, but I actually, was kind of just joking, acting like maybe I didn't. I really think this is a strong card. I don't know if there's a shell. Like I said, I don't know if there's a shell this goes in properly. I don't think it's just red, blue. But I kind of look at it this way. It's doing 4 things. And these 4 things look like they're worth it if you break it down. So would you pay 2 mana to do 4 damage? Because if you think about it, 4 things, 8 converted mana cost. Break that down. That means for everything you're doing, each one of those lines, you're going to be spending 2 mana. Would you pay 2 mana to deal 4 damage as you chose among any number of targets? I would. That sounds amazing. Would you pay 2 mana to tap 2 target permanents? Maybe. And not that it's not a good value for what you're doing, but is that something I want to do? Would you pay 2 mana for a 4/4 blue and red elemental? Yes. And would you pay 2 mana to draw 2 cards all day long? So I think the value is there in the right shell. Once again, I want to see all the cards and see what standard becomes, but I think as far as what you're getting for what you're paying, it is worth it all day long. But is there a deck you want to put it in that you're willing to spend 6 on or 8 on a turn? So
I mean, we're going to build it. So
you'll see it. So if it's there. Okay. Next, we're going to go into Expressive Artist. So this is a 4/4 creature orc wizard, and it has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, target a creature you control. Until the end of the turn, it has, if this creature would leave the battlefield, exile instead of putting it anywhere else. Nowhere else. Okay? And then it also reads, whenever you exile this creature, create a red and blue 4/4 elemental creature token. Sounds good. What do you like? What do you think?
I like this card, honestly. I think it's, again, a top end for the blue-red and for Izzet itself. And this card is interesting because it almost like has a little bit of its own protection as you're doing things. So you're kind of like replacing 4. So maybe like low drop on the front end, cast your spells, remove some stuff, put in some bigger things, and kind of like, really manipulate how you utilize those smaller creatures that we really try to do, but also those small spells that you're always trying to play. I think he's going to be really strong in Spellslinger decks due to the fact that being able to get the value out of it with the elemental creature token, and then still being able to kind of progressively use the spells that you're going to use anyways. So I think this card is going to see a lot of play in Spellslingers.
So I actually do like this card. Once again, coming from the aggro player, I think this might fit in the Isro aggro deck on the top end. So that deck has the fairy dragon that is real small, that keeps getting bigger whenever you play these instances of sorceries, and it doesn't have anything really big in the deck. But mono red aggro has a 4-drop in Torbrand and maybe this new creature. Mono white aggro has Halvar, I believe. So all these small decks do have a 4 top end, and I think this would go well in the Izzet aggro top end due to the fact that this card does something the second it hits the board, unless you throw it on turn 4. If you throw it on 5, 6, or 7 and you have mana, then you're going to be able to use this to do combat tricks immediately. So, I mean, you could opt in the middle of a fight and you're going to lose a creature, but you're going to take out their creature too. You opt in response, you get to do the ops trigger, but then you're also going to lose your creature but get a 4/4 out. It's a nice combat trick, and you don't have to wait a turn unless you have no mana to use this card's ability. So I think this might be a really fast deck's top end card. Okay, next I have multiple choice. 1 blue X sorcery. If X is 1, scry 1, then draw a card. If X is 2, you may choose a player. They return a creature they control to its owner's hand. If X is 3, create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. If X is 4 or more, do all the above. So before you say anything, Will, from the white card we were just talking about a second ago, Revel in Silence, to this multiple choice, if I didn't know better, I would say that Wizards of the Coast listens to CGB's podcasts and or streams, because it looks like white blue is getting a lot stronger, and I think this is going to be a super fun archetype in the future. What do you think of this card?
Yeah, I really like multiple choice. To be honest, it's a play all card. So, if you have mana and you can't figure out if you can get something, then all of a sudden you're scrying and drawing. If you have to return something to keep yourself alive, you can do that too. Make it 4/4. It's amazing. Of course, we'd all want to play the 4 or more and do all of them, but you don't have to. And that's the cool part. I still remember when Shark Typhoon came out, everyone was like, oh, Shark Typhoon. And everyone just thought, hey, I have to drop it as an enchantment. But you realize really quickly, no, you don't. Play it as the draw and see what you can get. Because
what do you
that
mean? There's
is what
another
blue's
part
about.
of that card?
I know, everyone forgets about it. So
I remember when I figured out that scrying that card could be way more powerful than throwing it as an enchantment. But
100%.
I get you.
And that's where I see multiple choice being. I think people are going to try to get the full value out of it. I don't think you should. I think you should try to get what you can out of it when you need it. And if you can get full value, great. But I really do like this card. I think control backs, Bant control, Azorius control. I really think they're going to get a lot of true value out of it. And then even Izzet. So I'm really excited to see this card in play and see what we can do with it.
I agree with you while disagreeing with you, Will, because I know that you're going to be scrying on turn 2 if it's in your hand and fits your curve. I'm only doing that if I need to. I think this is an always turn 5 or further on, because I like that more, do all the above. And if I have to, don't get me wrong, on turn 3, if they've got a creature I don't want to deal with, or their Luminarch Aspirant's already got 2 tokens on, or whatever it is, and I can just scry and bounce a creature, then I'm going to do that. Don't get me wrong. Maybe turn 3, if I need a 4/4, I'll do it, but I think this is just an amazing card, like you said, at any time, but I'm definitely trying to get that X's 4. That's what I'm looking for. So, okay. That is all the cards we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Will, for being with me as always.
And thank you, everybody. And we're really happy to see all of the new people signing up and joining and enjoying our content and our channel. And we're super excited to give away those free gems once we get to 100 subscribers. So looking forward to the hitting that mark.
Thank you for reminding them. So as Will said, we are going to be giving away 3,400 gems for free. So like the channel, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, leave a comment down below. And we want to have a really fun time making a community with all of you. So when we hit that 100 subscriber moment, it's going to be really fun, and we can't wait to give away the gems. So thank you very much. And as always, until next time, have a blast in the arena.